Hey YouTube, we're back with another episode of Questions Off-Gridders Get Asked. And today the question is, what do you do all day? And what about in the winter? So these are common questions, obviously, we get asked. And I would say think of it as living a consistent job. Not a hard job, but a consistent one. Would that be about right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When you start to think of off-grid living as a job, not a hard one, but a consistent one, it becomes a lot easier to understand why people or how people live this kind of lifestyle. A lot of people have kind of forgotten what it's like in daily life. They've forgotten the actual processes of life because of automation and because of convenience that you would find living in the city.
Yeah, so one of the things that keeps us busy all the time, especially in the winter, is the heat. And that is just because you're constantly feeding the fire with wood. So one of the first things we have to do when we first wake up is check the fire right off the bat and load it up.
Not to mention as well, with heat, you have to have that wood from somewhere. So one of the biggest jobs of the year is making sure that you have enough wood and that you've chopped enough wood so that you can make sure that you have heat in the winter. Because if you don't chop wood, you're going to freeze. Exactly.
Yeah. And we also use, in the winter now, we're using the one cook stove consistently for cooking. So you're either making tea, Kimberly's either baking or cooking something. So that would bring us to our next point, is food and cooking, because you have to start everything from scratch. I should actually turn this one over to Kimberly because she does everything, right?
Yeah. So with food and cooking, you do have to grow your own food here because of the fact that we don't necessarily have a grocery store that we can visit on ease of convenience. I like to do a lot of our things from scratch. Mom taught me how to make quite a few dishes that are relatively simple and easy, that I can kind of throw everything in a pot and let it sit and let it boil. I got to do a couple things, make sure it doesn't burn, obviously.
But even if you don't like doing things from scratch, you're gonna have to like it out here, because there is no running out to the grocery store and picking up something right off the shelf, or calling Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats or anything.
There's no Skip the Dishes. There's no Uber Eats. There's no honey, I don't feel like cooking tonight, let's go out. If we go out, it would be to a neighbor's for dinner. And even then, because of the way that the community is, we'll all pitch in and help with dishes and clean up and stuff like that. So yeah, it's consistent work for sure.
Absolutely.
The next one, I think, if you wanted to talk about it, would be water.
Water. So water, I would say, is another thing that takes up most of our time in the summer. Just because we are on a spring, and to water our vegetable gardens, we have to fill up 2 totes, essentially, that are 1,000 liters each, and that takes anywhere between 4 and 6 hours, depending on how much water there is in the spring. And then you have to go and deal with the garden itself. In the winter, water is a whole different issue, because you have to deal with the freezing aspect of things, and trying to keep the water thawed long enough so that the animals can get some water. For example, today it's a high of -13, and tonight's going to be a low of -21. So you can imagine how difficult it is. And you can see in one of our previous videos, I'll link up here, how I kind of prepared for the winter, and things have actually worked out not too well. I could be doing some other things with the rabbits, but they seem to be drinking when it's there, and that's that.
Live and learn. It's an experience. It's a learning journey.
Exactly.
The next thing that we wanted to talk about was repairs and maintenance. This is probably a big thing for Andre in terms of repairs, because I'm not too handy. But in terms of maintenance, we were talking about gardening and snow.
Well, gardening isn't maintenance, I wouldn't say, but like, well, it is maintenance, but it's something you have to do to eat. But maintenance, I would say, So for instance, we had to change out our own windows here because, well, you're not going to call somebody to come out here for a service call.
You could, but it wouldn't work very well.
Absolutely.
Astronomical pricing.
Just for travel.
Yeah.
Also, so
we did a video on that, actually,
absolutely.
when we changed out our windows.
Exactly. The same thing with the upstairs renovation we did here. Kimberly has to do a lot more cleaning in the winter as well because we are on wood burning heat. When you open up the doors, you're getting a lot more ashes just from the heat coming off the logs and when you're throwing logs in there. So yeah, there's a lot more maintenance on that.
You could, if you wanted to, not clean up the ashes, but then you're kind of living like a savage. I like to keep a fairly clean house. So in terms of maintenance, I mean, cleaning is a whole different level on its own. And I don't pick up the phone and call a cleaning lady. I clean the place by myself. And because we have a larger household, because we are so remote, we want to make sure we have space. It does require a significant amount of cleaning. For sure.
Yeah, exactly. Snow removal too, so there's some maintenance there. We do have a snowblower, but at this moment we're not using it because we just wanted to save some gas with the fuel prices as they are. So we just shovel out our own little paths at the moment. So that alone eats up an hour between the two of us. Cleaning when we have to do the snow. Also, back to repairs and maintenance, the snowblower wasn't working a few weeks ago there, and I had to inspect and found out it was the carb that was needing some cleaning, and that took probably half a day because, again, I'm not someone that's very knowledgeable in the mechanic side of things, so I had to learn as I was doing it. So things take a little longer right off the bat when you're learning.
Yeah. So on the topic of snow, that actually kind of leads us to our next topic. You might think, oh, well, you have a snowblower. Why would you bother to shovel out your own paths? So we thought it would be a good idea to shovel our own paths while we are physically able to do so.
Sure.
And for that reason, or on that topic, personal fitness is important to the both of us. Particularly living this lifestyle, you want to make sure that you have a different level of fitness and functional fitness rather than bodybuilding or for muscle show or something like that, which, not to say that that's not okay, it's a different lifestyle up here for sure.
Yeah, those big muscles won't help you out here because you need endurance and stamina.
And flexibility and mobility.
Absolutely. So it's great and all, but...
Yeah. That was part of the reason why we said, oh, well, we'll scratch the snowblower and for this winter, because as long as we're physically capable, we think that's a good idea to give us some exercise, and it's good cardio, to be honest. And for myself, because I'm inside a lot of the time in the kitchen or with my business.
Gets her out of the house.
Yeah, it gets me out of the house for a little bit. Because other than that and going outside for walks and stuff, I don't really get out of the house too much. So, yeah. Not that that's a problem. I like my household.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then finally, the second part is as to what we do in the winter. This is our first winter out here, or full winter, should I say. And our goal this winter was, actually one of them was to do the upstairs renovation, which is done now. Our next goal was to grow our businesses a lot further. So Kimberly is now kind of looking at different avenues in her business. I just launched my business, so I'm kind of hitting the pavement running here. So it's a lot of, I don't know, late nights, early mornings, getting things going with your own business.
Done, Yeah, that's the thing with business growth and with both of us owning businesses. I think that it's really, people don't necessarily realize how much work goes into that. When you own a business, you don't clock in at 9 and clock out at 5.
That's it.
And same thing with running a homestead. You don't clock in at 9 and clock out at 5. It's not that it is hard work necessarily, but it is consistent work. And I don't think a lot of people realize that until they actually get out here, and if that happens and they're not prepared, then it's kind of a little bit of an awakening.
Absolutely.
A little bit of a rude wake-up call.
Even on your days off, you still have work because, I've said it before, the animals still need to eat, drink water, and their poop cleaned up, so...
Yes, that's right. Yeah, the animals are another thing that's a daily thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So... yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys got some good info out of that one, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Take care.